What's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again to the channel. And before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe and sack that like button. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers before the end of the year. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my post-week 6 NFL rankings. And without further ado, let's begin. So coming in at number 32, the worst team in the NFL, I have it once again as the Carolina Panthers, who now recently traded wide receiver Robbie Anderson. Not much of a surprise after he was told to leave the game, I believe, in the second quarter. This team's in full rebuild mode. I think they're going to start selling out a lot of their key stars. They may trade Christian McCaffrey, maybe even Brian Burns. I think they're going to hit the complete reset button going into next year. Coming in at number 31, I have the Texans, who had a bye week this week. Coming in at number 30, I have the Bears, who lost Thursday to the Commanders in a defensive battle as expected. You know, the Bears' offense was able to move down the field a lot, but turning the ball over in the red zone was a huge problem for them. Coming in at number 29, the Jaguars. All of a sudden, they have plummeted back down to where they usually are. A couple of rough losses in tight games to division rivals, but you know, losses are losses. But there has been improvement this year for them. Coming in at number 28, I have the Commanders, who got a win against the Bears, but you know, still a lot of work there for them to get back on track within their division. Coming in at number 27, I have the Lions, who had a bye week this week. Coming in at number 26, I have the Raiders, who had a bye week this week. Coming in at number 25, I have the Steelers, who got the upset win over the Bucks. I picked them to win that game. I had a hunch about it, and they got it done. That was a gritty Steelers win, but they need to keep it going for the coming weeks if they want to have a playoff chance. Coming in at number 24, I have the Browns, who lost to the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett had a very bad game against his former team. Coming in at number 23, I have the Cardinals, who lost to the Seahawks, and that was a game that I thought was going to be high scoring with those two offenses, but in those two bad defenses, and somehow it was a low-scoring defensive battle. 19-9 was the final score. The Cardinals were never able to get into the end zone. Coming in at number 22, I have the Broncos, who lost last night to the Chargers in a defensive battle. Their defense continues to really impress, but their offense is just really bad. Coming in at number 21, I have the Seahawks, who are a very strange team. They're up and down. You know, they're at 500 again now, but I just don't see them as a legitimate contender. Coming in at number 20, I have the Saints, who had a tough loss to the Bengals. Coming in at number 19, I have the Falcons, who got a massive upset win over the Niners, completely shut down that Niner offense, and particularly in the second half. Marcus Mariota played a very good game. Their defense played well, as I said. This is a very interesting team. Coming in at number 18, I have the Patriots, who got the win over the Browns, as mentioned earlier. Bailey Zappi playing well. You know, I saw some talks about a quarterback controversy there. I think that's a little premature. Let's see how Bailey Zappi continues to play, but I think what they're doing with Zappi right now is what they would be doing with Mac Jones. It's just that Mac Jones had a tougher start to the schedule. He had to play the Dolphins, the Ravens, and at Steelers, while Zappi has faced the Browns and the Lions. Coming in at number 17, I have the Bengals, who got back to 500, got a big win over the Saints. They're back in a tie record-wise with the Ravens, but the Ravens, of course, have tiebreaker in the AFC North. Coming in at number 16, I have the Colts, who had a bye week this week. Or no, excuse me, they did not have a bye week. They beat the Jaguars, in a nice come-from-behind victory where Matt Ryan threw the ball nearly 60 times in the game. Jonathan Taylor did not play. That was a big part of that. Coming in at number 15, the Titans, who had a bye week this week. Coming in at number 14, the Buccaneers, who lost to the Steelers. Their offensive line looks terrible. The offense as a whole looks terrible. The defense looks okay, but I mean, you know, allowing points to Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, I mean, you know, I don't see how I just don't see how that's impressive at all, holding them to 20. You should be holding them to under 20. Coming in at number 13, I have the Packers, who lost again in a shocking loss to the Jets, where their offense got completely shut down for the exception of one touchdown drive that was aided by some penalties on the Jets. Yeah, the Packers have problems. I mean, it's Devontae Adams is a massive loss for them. I think Aaron Rodgers depended a lot on Devontae Adams over the last couple of years, and that's not to say that Devontae Adams doesn't miss Aaron Rodgers, because he does too. But Aaron Rodgers is missing Adams just as much, because he does not seem to be able to get any chemistry going with Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and all these guys. Coming in at number 12, I have the Rams, who got a win over the Panthers, but it was against the worst team in football. They were at home. It's a game that, not very exciting if you get the win, but they desperately needed a win. Coming in at number 11, I have the Ravens, who blew another two-score lead in the fourth quarter. Now, this isn't to the same extent as the chokes against the Bills and the Dolphins, but this was also a tough one, and Lamar Jackson made a boneheaded decision at the end of the game, forcing that pass when they were winning. Coming in at number 10, I have the Dolphins, who have now lost to the Vikings. The Dolphins had almost 500 yards of total offense, and the Vikings had less than 300. I mean, how do you lose that game, and how do you only put up 16 points? But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the panic time yet for the Dolphins. They're still 3-3, but next week is a must win. They cannot lose a fourth straight and drop to 3-4. Next week is a must win, and I think they will win it. They got Tua coming back. Coming in at number 9, I have the 49ers, who just lost to the Falcons, got completely shut down offensively. Defense didn't play all that good either. I mean, the Niners are a weird team, man. They really are. Every time it looks like they really are going to go on a tear, like back to their 2019 selves, they have a weird loss, but they're still first place in their division. Coming in at number 8, and I can't believe I have this team this high, the New York Jets at number 8. Look, coming into the year, I knew the New York Jets were going to improve. They had such good talent on both sides of the ball, but I did not think they would be 4-2 after 6 weeks. I thought at best they would be 3-3, probably more like 2-4. This team's sitting at 4-2, and what's really promising for them is all those draft picks they got, although the supposedly greatest draft of all time for a single team. I mean, they're panning out right now. Breece Hall, who they got in the second round, is looking like one of the top running backs in the league. Sauce Gardner, who they got in the first round, looking like a top corner in the league. Jermaine Johnson, he's playing well. Garrett Wilson, he's still developing and he's playing well. I mean, that draft class is looking very, very good. And to add to it, the pieces they've already added, like Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, those guys are bringing it together. I think the real weak link of this team is the quarterback position. Zach Wilson did not play good against the Packers. That's a simple fact, but they were still able to win the game by 3 scores, which shows how good of a roster the Jets have right now. At least young of a roster and talented. Coming in at number 7, I have the Chargers, who got the win last night against the Broncos. Offense struggled a bit, but they're playing a very tough defense. Their defense stepped up in a lot of key situations, and is why they ultimately won the game. But with the Chargers, it's just a very inconsistent team. We'll see if they're able to build off of the last couple of weeks. But they just always once they seem like they're turning a corner, go through a weird patch. So we'll see. Coming in at number 6, I have the Cowboys. I don't have them dropping too much after the loss to the Eagles. Eagles, best team in football right now. They had Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush threw 3 interceptions. Now, I'll say this, not 2 of the interceptions really were not Cooper Rush's fault, but overall, Cooper Rush did not play a good game. But it was a tough game. It's against a very good defense. It was in Philadelphia. I mean, it was a pretty tough one for him. But I think this definitely dials back a bit the Cooper Rush hype, and I think if Dak is ready to go next week, he'll start, but it doesn't mean that Cooper Rush wouldn't come back in if we see the Dak that we saw in week 1. Coming in at number 5, I think it's time that we start giving this team its respect and stop saying that it's gonna, fall apart. The Giants. They are 5-1, and listen to the teams that they have beaten. They beat the Titans at Tennessee. They beat the Packers. They beat the Ravens. This team is a very scary team because this is one of those teams that just hangs around in games, doesn't go away, doesn't really, make a leap, and then in the fourth quarter, they're just going to capitalize on your mistakes. They're a very scary team, and I think this team is legit. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders yet, but they definitely have a great shot at making it to the playoffs with that 5-1 record. And once they're in the playoffs, who knows? The two Super Bowls the Giants won with Eli Manning are very similar. Teams that, went 9-7, 10-6, and stumbled into the playoffs, and then just started winning games. This is a very dark horse team to me. Coming in at number 4, I have the Vikings, who got the win over the Dolphins. The Vikings are now at 5-1. Seems like the talent on that team is finally coming together. I mean, this has been one of the better rosters in the NFL over the last few years, and they've really underperformed. But it seems like it's finally coming together. But still, I question Kirk Cousins in the big moments. Coming in at number 3, I got my Kansas City Chiefs. And look, they had a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills. But as a Chiefs fan, it's really not that concerning of a loss to me because it was a game in which it really could have gone either way. And when they play again, it's going to be the same thing. It can go either way. It's not like the Chiefs just got flat out beat. And to add to it, I know the Bills had some people out, but the people they have out are going to be out probably for the rest of the year, like Micah Hyde. Who knows if Tre'Davious White will be ready to go. So I think with the Chiefs, they have guys who are out. Rashad Fenton, their starting corner, was out in that game. Brian Cook, one of their safeties, was out in that game. Trent McDuffie still didn't return in that game. And I think if they play the Bills again and they have those guys, those big plays that the Bills were able to get towards the end of the second half and then towards the end of the game will not be as easy for them. And I think that could have made a key difference in the game, having those 3 guys out there on the field. So if they play the Bills again, which there's a high chance they do, I think that's only going to increase their chances to beat them. I think the Chiefs really, I'm not going to say they blew the game, but they easily could have won that game. It could have gone either way. It's not too much of a concerning loss to me. It's a frustrating loss, but I think it will serve them in the long run, at least when they play them again and when they get all their guys back. And then coming in, and also forgot to mention, Willie Gay Jr. was not playing in that game due to the suspension, and his first game back is next week. And that's the guy they would use a lot to spy Josh Allen, and he would do a very good job at containing Josh Allen because of the spy. They didn't have him, and that was a huge factor. Coming in at number 2, I have the Bills, who, obviously, just speaking on, they got the big win over the Chiefs, but the billion-dollar question is, can they do this in the playoffs? We've seen them last year do it. The last 2 years, their season has ended against Mahomes and the Chiefs. We'll see if they're able to do it, get over the hump this year. We'll see. Coming in at number 1, I have the Eagles, the only unbeaten team in the NFL, and their RPO game is crazy good. The run-pass option, if you don't know what that means. I mean, this team is going to be very tough to beat. They're just physical up front defensively. They're physical up front offensively. Jalen Hurts seems like he's mastered that RPO offense. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are one of the better wide receiving cores in the NFL. That team is very, very scary. But yeah, as of right now, I have them at number 1. Comment down below what you guys think about these rankings and what you thought of the games this week. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.